Two boys grew up on the same street. Same school, same opportunities, same starting point. But 10 years later, everything changed. Jake and Ethan were best friends. One day their teacher asked, "What do you want to become?" Jake answered, "I just want enough money to survive." Ethan smiled and said, "I want to build something meaningful." The class became silent. Some students laughed, but Ethan stayed calm. A few days later, the school announced a business competition. The winner would receive a special award. Jake looked away and said, "These competitions are for rich kids, not for us." Ethan replied, "Maybe I won't win, but I'll learn something." Jake stayed home. Ethan joined the competition. Days passed. The results were announced. Ethan lost. Everyone expected him to quit. After the competition, Jake said quietly, "See? Trying changes nothing." Ethan looked at the feedback sheet and said, "Now I know what I need to improve." Same result, different mindset. That was the beginning of everything. Every evening, Jake spent hours scrolling and complaining. Ethan spent just 1 hour every day learning new skills and improving himself. Months passed. Nothing looked different at first, but small habits were creating a big gap. Jake always asked, "How much does this cost?" Ethan asked something different. "What can this teach me?" Jake blamed luck. Ethan built habits. 1 year later, their lives no longer looked the same. Jake looked at Ethan and asked, "How did you change your life?" Ethan smiled and answered, "I stopped waiting and started building." Rich mindset is not about luxury. Poor mindset is not about income. One person says, "I can't." The other says, "I'll figure it out." Your future changes when your thinking changes. Success starts in your mind. But changing your mindset did not change Ethan's life overnight. He tried new ideas. Most of them failed. Every failure gave him one thing: experience. Jake watched everything and said, "You work too much." Ethan smiled and answered, "I'm building freedom, not comfort." Months later, Ethan earned his first small income. It wasn't a lot of money, but it proved something important. Progress feels small until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. Jake became curious. For the first time, he asked questions. And that was the moment their real journey began. Jake asked Ethan, "Where did you even start?" Ethan answered, "I stopped trying to look successful and started trying to become useful." That night, Jake opened his phone and deleted hours of distractions. The next morning, he wrote one sentence: "Start before you feel ready." His first day wasn't perfect. His second day wasn't either. But he kept going. Weeks turned into habits. Habits slowly changed his identity. Jake finally understood. Success isn't built in one moment. It is built in the small choices nobody notices. 1 year later, both boys stood on the same street again. This time, their future looked different. Jake looked at Ethan and said, "I thought success was about money." Ethan smiled and replied, "Money follows value. Mindset creates value." Jake stayed silent, because for the first time, he understood what had been missing. That day, Jake didn't promise big results. He promised a new way of thinking. Your future is not decided by where you start. It is decided by what you believe and what you do next.